So this is the assignment which we will be attempting. It's not very difficult. It's basically two, if you zoom in over here, two 10-millimeter plates, like annular plates, and the inner radius is given as 500, and the outer radius is given as 500 plus 300, which is 800. And then there will be bolts like this, staggered radial bolts. There'll be two sets of bolts, so we will not create separate separate bolts, but this set of 8 bolts will be one ID, and then this set of 8 bolts will be a single ID. So we don't want to see 16 bolts or two sets of 8 bolts or 8 different bolts, but we want to see two sets only of 8 bolts each. One this one and the other one on the other side. And the holes, these are M20 bolts, and the holes are 22 millimeters. And the angular distance between them is 10 degrees, but they're staggered in the sense that you have this bolt over here and then this bolt is missing. Then you have this bolt over there and this bolt is missing, and it goes on like that. There's no bolt on the center, but then on the other side it's symmetric. The bolts are placed at a radii of 600 and 700, which means the first line of bolts has a radius from the center of 500 plus 100, which is 600, and the second one has a radius of 700. And they're staggered, like I said, so there'll be one missing in each line. So let's try and create this. So let's start off by making those two annular circles. We go to the edit command or menu over there and choose the construction circle with center and radius. Choose the center point over here and then hover over the same point and say dx 500. This was the inner radius. And then once again click on the same center, hover over the same point and say dx 800. That was the outer radius. And now we can quickly go in and create the contour plate from there to there to there to that point, to that point, to that intersection point, and then back there. The thickness, if you remember, needed to be 10 millimeters, like that. And now what we want to do is give the this point as well as this point a chamfer of type 4, so that we get the annular ring. Once we are okay with that, we can select this plate and say copy linear from here to here. That's 10 millimeters, like that. And we have the two plates. Let's just change the color of one of them so that it's more easily visible. There we go. And we have the two plates ready. But the actual assignment is about creating the bolts. Now I'm going to start with the bolts, and to do that, let's go back and check. So the first set of bolts is at a 10-degree angle from that point. What I'll do is I'll create them exactly along this line and then move them, rotate them rather around the center 10 degrees, and then we'll go from there. So to create the bolts, we go to the bolt command, bolt with auto coordinate system, because we have plates. Select the top plate, select the bottom plate, right click. And then the first point I want 100 millimeters inside, and the second bolt would be another 100 from there. So what I'll do is I'll hover over this point and say dx 100 for the origin, and then for the other the point on the x direction, I'll just hover over the same point and say dx 200, like that. And when I do that, since it's right on the edge, sometimes you get this error because it just doesn't find the material exactly on the edge. So what I'll do is I'll just select this, right click and say move, rotate, and rotate it, click the middle point and right click to get the rotation axis, give it an angle of 10 degrees and say run, and immediately the bolts are created. Of course, the distance between the bolts is the default value right now. It's 60, so I'll just change that to 100 since that's the requirement. And by doing that, we'll get the first set of bolts over here. Now, if we go back to the model, we see that there was one set over here. Of course, these bolts are missing. We'll try to find a solution for that later. We got the first one in. how many copies do I need? So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 copies of this with a 10-degree angle. So we go back to the model, select this, and say copy rotate 10 degrees, and we need 7 copies like that, and we'll get the bolts over there. And then the last one I'll keep on rotating, but this time because it's going to go across, if you remember, this middle line is missing completely, and then we go to the other side, so it's a 20-degree jump, and then once again it's once we get that, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more copies. So let's do the 20-degree single one at the moment, like that. So we have this one, and then we go back to the 10 degrees, and we have 7 more copies to go. Now this all of these are separate bolt IDs, whereas what we want is for this whole set over here to be one ID, and we want this whole set over here to be one ID, and we also want alternating bolts to be missing from this whole thing. So if we go back, we see that the first one is available, the second one is missing, and then the fourth one is missing, and then the sixth and the eighth one, they're missing like that. So we go in, so this one is okay. So what we need to do now is actually, so there's one thing, let's do one thing first, because what we want is for this whole thing to be one ID, and right now they're separate IDs. So to achieve that, what we'll do is we'll select this bolt set, right click on it, and come to the bolt group editing and say combine group. Now when we get into that command, it says it asks for the first bolt, which will be the main bolt in this whole thing. So I'll select the same one again, and now it asks for select bolt groups to be combined. And now I'm going to start selecting this one and 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 this one, and then I right click. And what that will do is, if I right click again, it's going to put that whole thing into make one ID out of it. I do the same thing over here, bolt group editing, combine the bolts, select the same one again, and then I click on this one and this one and this one and this one, like that, and I right click, so that now all these are part of one bolt. So we basically have two IDs, which is what we wanted. The only thing which is missing now is that lots of these bolts are actually not there, they're staggered, and we need to now address that. Now in COMOSYS, when you select a bolt group, all the bolts are selected, but if you keep the Alt key pressed, then you can actually select individual bolts like that. So by keeping the Alt as well as the Control key pressed, what we can do is we can actually go in and select alternate bolts like that, and then we will select this one as well, and this one as well, and this one as well, and this one as well. And after having selected those bolts, we can just click on the delete key, and those ones will be eliminated from the group. It's still one ID, but those ones have been eliminated. Now I can do the same with this one. I can click on the Alt key and select this one. Also click on the Control key so that I can select the alternate ones like that, and then I can select this one and that one and that one and that one as well. And I can now press the delete key. And if I now look at it from the top, you can see this is exactly what the assignment was asking us to do. Two groups, one group with 8 bolts in it. If I don't recall if we changed the tolerance needs to be 2 millimeters. So let's do that now. This one also, the tolerance needs to be 2 millimeters because 322 bolt hole sizes were asked for. But we've basically achieved 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts on this side, 8 bolts on this side, staggered, radially, and in one group. That was the assignment.